So I was in the shower, I was cleaning my ass and making all sure all sparkly, spanky clean.
I'm not the funny one, I'm the pretty one.
Cock shots. I just checked myself out.
Candles, music, wine, and then lube up and get on top.
The glory hole's like a big theater. I've imagined your family.
Which means your pants had better come off. Mama needs playtime. I do it.
We're not sluts.
We just love love.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to By the By. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Atom.
And I am Mrs. Atom.
And we're here with new microphones.
Yay! So hopefully it sounds okay. We'll find out afterwards and if we need to redo this or not.
Yup. Won't be the first time we re-recorded a podcast from the very beginning.
No, it won't. But hopefully it'll be better and sound at least a little better to you guys.
I'm looking at this and it looks like we're coming through loud and clear, and I'm all excited.
Yay!
I know. So yeah, we may have splurged a bit today and got us some real microphones because we were sick of the shit of.
Yeah, it's such a pain to try and listen to it afterwards, and it just sounds like crap, and then try and fix it.
Podcasting's hard.
Still doesn't sound good, so we just said, screw it, we're going to go get some actual decent microphones and just be done with it.
Yeah, so here we are. So, yay, exciting. We're semi-pros at more than just, fooling around. So how's it going?
Good. Would you like to tell everyone what's been going on?
What has been going on? So we went out last Thursday night and saw Suicide Squad.
Which by the time this podcast gets released is already going to be a little bit old, but whatever. It was new to us at the time.
Hell, by the time this podcast gets released, Suicide Squad might be on DVD.
That's true. But it was opening night in the theater.
Opening night, yeah. So it was Thursday night, and we went and saw the 9 o'clock showing.
Yes.
And we had a guest come along with us, one of my new play partners. We're giving him the name Jack because, he's a jack of all trades, a master of most.
Everything we've experienced so far, anyway.
Everything I've experienced so far. Indeed.
Guess I don't get to, but
So it was fun. I think, as a side note, Suicide Squad was a pretty good movie. It's not great. It's not going to change your world, but it is fun to watch Margot Robbie.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, she's a fantastic Harley Quinn, who was one of my first crushes. Which we downloaded the animated Batman the Animated Series as well and watched Harley Quinn's first appearance. And
Sploosh.
Anyway, sploosh. So back to sorry, I digress. So we went and saw Suicide Squad, and that was fun. I think, honestly, though, the best part of the movie was sitting in between you guys, holding both of your all's hands, petting both of your all's legs. And
it was cute.
It was fun. It's nice to be... I don't know. It's nice to have that kind of relaxed freedom and to be with people who are comfortable enough with me expressing affection for both of them.
Yeah. Well, we're both touchy people. Both Jack and I are, and you are. All of us are. So it's a natural expression of how we feel, and there's no jealousy or anything. In fact, I think it's really sweet and really cute, and I like to watch it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So we went and we had him over for dinner, and I cooked. And we had a nice dinner. It was his first time meeting Mrs. Atom. So that
Hopefully I didn't scare him away.
I don't think so, yeah. But, so we had a nice dinner, and, you all got along very well.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
And then we saw the movie, and then we came back here, and I will say, I think it got a little awkward because he and I were making out on the couch, and Mrs. Adam was sitting there watching us with drool running down her face. She might have been touching herself through her jeans a wee bit.
I wasn't doing that because I thought that might be a little too far for him. The drool, I think, was enough.
It's always good when you have drool from both sets of lips.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So no, and then I think I suggested us going back to the bedroom, and he pulled the plug on it. So, which I respect. It's like it's a little too far at this point in front of her.
It's the first time he met me, so I get it. Yeah, totally fine.
But yeah, so I have a feeling that we'll see more of him.
Or at least you will.
Well, yeah, no, you will as well. Because the whole inner circle kind of thing.
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
The inner circle is important.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was good. And then last night,
No, 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago. Jeez, this whole weekend has flown by.
Mm-hmm.
We had some friends come over for dinner and a little bit of play, and yeah, it was great.
It was nice because we'd had dinner with them a few weeks ago, but we hadn't played with them in quite a while.
Yes.
It's just schedules and
They have kids
life
and
yeah.
getting life together
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. We understand.
So it was really, really nice to have them over to play because they're a fun couple to hang out with.
Yeah,
We really
I really
enjoy
like them
it.
both.
Yeah.
Good conversation, intelligent.
Yes.
Not that all of our friends are intelligent, or they wouldn't be our friends. But yeah, intelligent, and we tend to be on the same page on most things.
Definitely.
And yeah, it's kind of fun because it's, he's more on the buy side, and that's not what you find very often. And she's very much on the buy side, which that's kind of awesome. And yeah, it was.
And they're beautiful people inside and out
Yeah.
and fun to play with. It's
Yeah.
comfortable. Puppy pile is easy
Yep.
and
Yeah. Yeah, puppy piles. If you've never tried one, give it a go. It's just fun. And I think we've described this before, but for us, a puppy pile, we're all just kind of laying intertwined, and it's you're not really concerned with sex, or I should say, you're very concerned with sex. You're not concerned with the gender.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice. It's
Yeah.
just easy, but
when there's a body part in front of you, you play with it, do whatever with it, and it's going to switch up, and you might go to someone else, and that's
Yeah.
fine. And yeah,
it's always nice. Yeah,
it
it
was
was fun.
very nice.
A little bit of stress on my end, which we'll get to later in the meat of this podcast, pun intended. But yeah, a little bit of stress on this end, but we'll move into that in a bit. Anything else new and exciting other than our brand new microphones?
No, I don't think so.
I think I'm gonna give my microphone a name.
Are you?
I don't know. I feel like I should. I want to put little stickers on it.
Okay.
Can I put like little unicorn?
We still have the
unicorn
stickers. Yes.
Wait. So we'll do that afterwards. She was already up running to get the unicorn stickers.
Well,
people.
they're only like
I know, but
not
we
even
don't
a meter
put
away.
stickers on while we're talking in them because they'll be all like noisy, and people will be like, "What are you
Fine,
doing putting stickers on your
fine.
microphones? Do that when you're not recording." Because that's
fair
what people
enough.
say.
Okay.
People talk. But yes, she was diving for the microphones or for the unicorn
stickers.
That's my girl.
Yeah.
All right, so should we get onto it?
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be one of those podcasts when I talk a lot and you don't do a lot of talking.
Okay.
Like most of my podcasts.
Is that
People are
is
like,
that a
"God,
problem?
Why don't you shut up, Mr. Adam? Okay. So a few months ago, I came across over Twitter. I follow the sex toy company Lelo, Lelo. I thought it was Lilo for a long time, but it's not. We heard people say it, and they're Lelo. So every time I hear Lelo, I think of the color yellow and a
How
child
little
saying
kids say it.
So, I don't
Yeah.
know. Anyway. Tangent. So they posted a blog citing mistakes we make in bed, or mistakes we make with a partner, and blah 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 blah. So we read through it and we like it. We would like to touch on it, but so the way we're going to do this is we're actually going to go through each of their headers and then just sort of talk about our own experience, because we think the headers are good, and the meat of that blog was good as well. We both read it and we think it's valuable, but we want to talk about how it affects us, because this podcast is about us.
Right.
But we'll make a point to post a link to that
On the website.
yeah, to that blog on our website, which at this point, this weekend, that was something we did. That just to add again, we updated the website. We made a few changes. We've updated the Facebook page. Wow, I mean, we're starting to look like a professional organization here. and
It's
I'm
a
all
lot
excited.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It only took us. We've been doing this for 7 months.
Right. And then I took a look at the website, particularly on my phone, and the mobileness was terrible. And I was like, we have to fix this. It's going to
Mrs.
drive
Adam
me
got
crazy.
the shits on Saturday.
Yeah.
She
yeah.
was not happy. She threw a little fit. There was stuff flying over. That's why we had to go get new microphones. She picked our microphones up, snapped them in half. She hulked out.
Yeah. Ooh, we should get a picture of that.
Yeah, we should. Grr.
Yeah.
Look at them
Yeah.
big green breasts.
But that's okay. We fixed it all. We got it.
Yeah.
It's in a better place now.
It's good. So very happy. All right, sorry. Back to the meat of the podcast. So we have mistakes we make in the bedroom.
And as we go through this, I'm going to as I was reading the headings in particular, a few of them I had slightly different ideas as to what they meant until I read the description. So we'll talk about that as well when we get there.
Which I think is valuable. I think
Yeah.
that's and valid as well. I think it's both. So yeah. All right. So first up, not being upfront. Mm-hmm. How do you?
I don't have this problem.
That's very true.
Yes.
Yes. I'll never forget our first hookup. We're laying there post-coital, and you roll over to me and you longingly look into my eyes and go, "Are you okay to drive home?" Which was the sweetest GTFO I've ever heard. Get the fuck out. Yeah, to this date, that still is like...
Yeah. No, I tend to be pretty good at asking for what I want, and making it clear, especially like if we're meeting up with people, especially new people, we always tell them we don't hook up on the first date.
Right.
So don't expect it.
No matter how much we want to.
Yes.
And there's been times where it's been very difficult for both of us.
Right. Yeah. So we make that very clear. There's, back when before we were dating, when we were dating, whatever, whenever I would meet somebody, if I was just looking for a booty call, I made it very clear that all I want is a hookup. I don't want anything else. I don't want anything serious, whatnot. And I think that's important to make known from the beginning of a relationship. What are you looking for? And it doesn't have to be, you might want something more later, but relationships can change.
Right,
Yeah, it can evolve. But to just be like, for now we're just hooking up, we're having fun. And then if we decide later we want something more, then great. If we don't, if it never changes, it always stays there, then it always stays there.
Yeah.
But I also think, and I don't really recall now where the article went with it, but I think that also applies to in bed itself. If there's something, if you want your partner to do something in particular, if you like something or don't like something, then don't be afraid to make that known, because they're not going to know unless you tell them or somehow otherwise indicate.
Well, I think that's when we looking at this article, one of the things that it's very clear is that we're not mind readers.
No.
None of us are mind readers. So, if there's something that you want or there's an issue that you have that's going on, you need to actually communicate that to your partner. And this not being upfront, for me, I feel like I'm pretty upfront with people, but my problem is I have a time management issue. I like to have big blossoming relationships with a lot of people, and in reality I don't have enough time to do that, which sucks, because there are people who I really like, who I if they live too far away or something's coming up, or it's difficult to have these almost boiling kind of relationships. I like boiling relationships, and unfortunately many of my secondary or tertiary relationships, they don't boil. Some of them barely simmer, and that's a problem. And that bothers me, because then I feel guilty, because I feel like, well, I'm leading this person on, even though I tend to try to be open up front. But then I'm open and upfront about what I want, which is a boiling, passionate relationship, but I don't have the time to invest in that, and that's stressful.
I will say, as far as you go and asking for what you want in the bedroom, you're a lot better now than you once were. And even now, though, there's times where you're like, we'll be talking about something afterwards, and you'll say, well, I really wanted this, or I thought it was really hot when you did, X, Y, or Z.
Well, I said that this afternoon, talking about this morning.
And it was something that I'd never even knew that, you might like, or that you liked that much. And so maybe I do it a little, but not enough. And so that's how we continue to evolve in our relationship and whatnot. But at the same time, you're a lot better now, even in the midst of things. When we're in the bedroom, you're a lot better at saying, I want this, or can I do this, than you used to be.
It's funny, because it's always been hard for me to ask for what I want in bed, and I don't know why. I'm gonna assume it has to do with society, because that's who I normally blame. Society is my normal bad guy. But no, it is hard for me to say, I want you to do this. It's easier for me to ask, can I do this? But it's hard for me to it's oftentimes hard for me to say, I want you to do this or do this to me.
Right.
It's funny because I'm actually better with guys describing what I want. And I don't know why, but it's almost like, bedroom talk is locker room speak. And it's easier to be, crass and dirty with a guy than it is with a woman, even you, which makes no sense to me, even my own brain. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard.
But it is important though, because, like you said earlier, we're not mind readers.
I know.
And there's no way that a partner, whether a temporary or permanent partner, is going to know everything that you need or want or enjoy unless you somehow make that known. And it can be talking about it in the moment. It can be talking about it later. You can show them, if depending on how they learn and how well they are reading you, you can also express it in other ways.
Right.
Physically, verbally, other than talking or whatnot. But
Sometimes it's hard to communicate with a ball gang.
But you give the thumbs up,
But what if my hands are bound?
Well, your hands can be bound, but I guess if your fingers are bound, I don't know.
Well, I could have the leather hoofs or something on.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't have any.
Well,
but
then wag
it's on
your
the
tail.
list.
I don't know.
I can totally wag my tail. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's tough. I think, I understand that nobody wants. The other problem with this is that you can be upfront, and the problem with being upfront is if somebody's not on the same level as you, they're going to instantly cut you down or strike you down or whatever. So for instance, if you match somebody on Tinder and the first thing you say is, look, I want something casual. I'm not looking for a life partner. Even if you say I'm looking for a secondary, tertiary partner, if that's not what they want, you're being open up front, but they instantly are like, oh, nope, don't want it. And while I think that's I think that's mostly 80% a good thing, in that you're not investing time into something that's fruitless. The other problem to that is a lot of people assume they don't want something just because they don't have enough information. Yeah, they don't have the experience. Yeah. They don't have enough information on what they don't have an open relationship. They don't have any first-hand experience as to what an open relationship looks like. They look at it through their own lens, which is clouded by inexperience. And so they assume that they don't want it.
Right.
Or it's bad or it's wrong. So it's tough to be, the question then is, at what point do you become upfront? Because you also don't want to sleep with somebody and then go, oh, by the way, I'm married. You're not a primary partner. It's just...
Well, it may not...
Communication is hard.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, even in the bedroom, that's a good point, is that you don't want to scare someone off right away and be like, I want, I don't know, just, if you come right out of the game, be like, I want double penetration, then they might be like, whoa, wait, where did that come from?
What? We haven't even discussed single penetration.
Yeah. And so there is like a fine line as well in reading your partner and knowing... how much can you ask for at any given time?
Yeah.
And as you get to know that person better, you may be able to ask for more or direct things a bit more. Or they might be the type of personality that you can do that from the beginning.
Yeah.
But you have to read
you and
them
I were
and
like
see.
That. From the beginning, we were able to, pretty much talk about at least what our relationship was going to look like. We described that both of us, I feel, very openly and honestly from the very beginning. Mostly because I don't think either one of us wanted a relationship. That's what made it easy.
Right.
But yeah.
But there are some of our secondary partners that we have to nurture things a bit more before we really got, super comfortable in just talking about specifics of what we wanted and whatnot.
Yeah.
So some came faster than others. And
there's a joke there.
Terrible. Sorry. I didn't intend that. Sorry, guys.
Pun non-intended. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this sort of leads into the next one, which is, you touched on it a bit, which is not taking control. So, I get that as well. And this is one of those, I feel like I do that poorly. I don't take control well. I give control very well, but I don't take it very well. But I'm going to be completely sexist and say that I think that not taking control is something that's more likely done by women in general than it is by men. And I say that because in my experience, most women are looking for those cues from the men, for the man to take control. Do you agree?
I would tend to agree with that. And yeah, you are generally not the one to take control.
No.
But there are times where you Hulk out and you become all grr.
It's really weird.
And it doesn't, at that point.
It's like my testosterone injections are kicking in.
Yeah.
I should totally take testosterone injections. I don't know what that would do to me.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe I'd get hair where there's not hair before.
Oh, well, could be interesting, or it could be really kind of creepy. Depends on where that hair goes. You don't really want it like sprouting out your ears and off the side of your neck. And
yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But,
it's only a matter of time, kid. Have you seen my granddad?
But there are times where you do become very grr and really do take control. And at those times, it doesn't really matter what mood I'm in. I don't think I've ever been in a very controlling mood at the same time. But, as soon as you start to, though, I can very clearly recognize that. It's like, okay, well, he's taking control this time.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to be.
Well, it's interesting. I've gotten resistance from you before. And I often wonder, is this just her normal self? Or is she trying to take back control, maintain control, or what? Is this difficult for her to relieve control?
It is difficult for me to relieve control, but when it's clear that you need control, it's not difficult for me. But sometimes I do that also to push you a bit more, and then you take more control and you become more grr.
Wow.
And so
you're manipulating me.
Just
I love it.
to play that a bit more. And
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it depends on the scenario, but yeah.
That's funny.
But there are times where I've done that, and then you're like, no, I want it. So.
I don't actually say that, but
That's what you act like that.
Yeah, that's what I act like. Yeah. I will say that. I may throw a little fit. No, and it's funny because I look at there was then one point that, and I don't know how it works for you, but when I think back on our sex, I don't think back on individual this was great, but I think in flashes. Like I can remember over the past couple of weeks, there was one point in which you were in cowgirl position, and I had my left hand on your hip and my right hand around your throat, and I was actually choking you a little, but I was also putting it to where you were choking yourself because I basically just a football term,
and then I can lean
stiff
into
arm.
it.
Yeah, I stiff armed you. Football term. Look at me making a football term. Yes, I'm so manly. I'm taking control tonight.
Does that translate to rugby for the Australians?
I don't care. I just made a sports term joke thing correlation. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, and so you were basically choking yourself. Your throat was in my hand, and that actually was really good for me. And at the same time, I'm like, I'm kind of taking control. And a couple of times, your eyes kind of rolled back in your head, and then I thought I should probably not do this because this is a Monday night, and we're having pictures taken Wednesday morning.
It was fine. There was no bruising.
No, I know, but I was thinking the worst thing I could do is put bruising on you before our pictures.
Nah, it's fine.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that was kind of hot. But yeah. So it's harder for me to take control.
Yeah. And you don't always have to take control. I think that's I think that's important to say too. Is you don't always have to. If it's not natural for you, it's not natural for you. But don't be afraid to. If you have a secret desire to at some point, or even certain moods or certain times, if you want to, don't be afraid.
Well, I think one place this really works is how do you want to be touched?
Yeah.
So, for instance, there's been a couple of times where I've actually taken your hands and put them on my junk. I feel that's taking control. I'm guiding your hand. This is what I want. I think it's also great for women, especially because some guys have and some women have a bit more difficulty finding the clitoris.
Yeah.
So
True.
Help them. Show them where it is. This is where I want to be touched. This is how I want to be touched. Put your hand on top of their hand or something like that to sort of guide that person into helping them discover you.
Yeah.
Kind of
Touch
thing.
yourself the way that you want to be touched, and let them see that. If they're an astute partner, they will pay attention to how you're touching yourself and learn from that and emulate that.
Yeah. And if they're not paying attention, I say feel
Say
free to
something.
pay
Yeah.
attention. This is what feels good, or go, ooh, this feels good, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's tough, but I think it's important. Yeah. Any other notes on taking
no,
control?
I don't think so.
All right, let's move on to lacking confidence. So we have a whole body image episode that we're going to have some guests in on. We hope to get both Blue Steel and the lady, but we'll talk about that later. Well, when we do the episode. Anyway,
when schedules allow, we'll do that one. Yeah.
But so I think this sort of touches on body image and lacking that confidence. But not just that; it's also lacking confidence in both your abilities, yourself, anything.
Yeah.
I remember at a very young age, there was a girl that I had a crush on. That I went to school with, and I didn't ask her out because I thought that her family made too much money, and there was no way that I could be good enough for a girl whose family made that much more money than my family made. That was a confidence issue. It's a monetary confidence issue, but that's still. I don't think you lack confidence. I think you are overflowing with confidence.
No, I don't.
At least you fake it well enough.
I don't think I do, but I would say that confidence is very attractive in a partner, and it's, as Mr. Adams said, it's not just being confident in your looks and whatnot, but it's also in your abilities, your skills. And when you go to the bedroom, be confident in that and be confident in what you're doing, whether you actually are or not. It doesn't matter, just fake it. And and even if you're just kissing and making out or in conversation, and if you're not sure about how the conversation's going or how it feels, steer it in a different way that does make you comfortable and that you are more confident in conversing with this person. Because if you can carry on a good, solid conversation, that can go a long ways. And so whatever it takes to make that happen, if you need to move to a different topic or, go to a different, maybe where you're conversing isn't conducive to conversation, go somewhere where it is conducive. But basically whatever your end goal is, whatever you're trying to do with your partner, just be confident in it and be comfortable. And whether that's in the bedroom, out of the bedroom, it's in your looks, in the way you walk, in everything.
Yeah, you touch on a good point. It's funny, and this is so fucking cliche, but the most important sex organ is between your ears. Mm-hmm. And it is. It's funny. I'm really good at the confidence of wooing people. I'm very good at relationship building. I'm very good at, I can get somebody into a bedroom. I am confident in that. I'm a silver tongue. I don't know. I do very well with that. And, so like she said, what I tend to do is I steer the conversation to things that I'm comfortable talking about and confident in. I'm a great listener, which most people like.
Yeah.
My great grandmother used to say, we have two ears and one mouth for a reason, so we listen twice as much as we speak. People like to talk about themselves, and that's, again, it's part of that confidence thing. If you ask somebody a question, it's an easy thing. If you're feeling self-confident and like you're not liking where this conversation is going, or you don't feel comfortable with the subject matter, ask a question about somebody. It's a good way to A, learn about your partner, and B, you're taking some of the pressure off yourself. So that always works. I think for me, that's a confidence builder. If I'm starting to feel a little don't know what to do, I ask them a question, from anything from, I like the jewelry, where did you get it, to, what was your last vacation, where did you go, to, what's the meaning of life. So I think those are important things. But then also about the confidence, we all have underwear that we feel really confident in. And I am a firm believer that even if you're the only one that will see that underwear, your attitude changes. I know I have underwear that I feel very confident in, and it affects the entire day. And then, I have underwear that, I'm like, oh, well, it's okay. And again, I find that affects my entire day. So I try to wear the good stuff whenever I am either meeting a new person or we're going out, especially if I think the pants might come off.
Yeah.
I wear underwear that are that make me feel attractive.
If you feel sexy, then you're
Yeah.
going to act sexy.
Yeah.
It's going to be better all overall.
And I have shirts, you know,
Yep.
I think that all of my, I would say out of my last 10 first dates, I almost always wear the same shirt on the first date.
Yeah.
I have a white kind of crimped, crinkled, whatever fabric, but it's snap shirt. I love that shirt. I feel sexy in it. I like the way it looks on me. You can see a bit of tattoo through the shirt.
You have a little more swagger when you're
I
wearing
do.
it.
I feel badass in
Yeah.
that shirt, and I love that shirt. And someday it's going to fall apart, and I'm going to cry. But yeah, no, I mean, confidence is important.
Definitely.
So yes, I think that's yeah. Anything else you want to know?
Nope.
Okay.
I think we covered it.
Cool. Number 4, not letting yourself go.
This is one that just on the heading, I misunderstood what the content was. What
did you understand
I
the content
took
to
it
be?
as letting yourself go in the looks department. You know, when you're in a relationship and you get
Yeah.
comfortable with that, and you know, you may not do your hair as much anymore, you don't put on as much makeup, or you don't wear those sexy clothes that make you feel comfortable, confident.
Move to granny panties.
Yeah, and you have your, you know, just normal t-shirt bra all the time. You never push those girls up in his face. And yeah, but so I took it as letting yourself go physically.
Gotcha.
I didn't, when I read the description, I realized that's not exactly what they meant. But yeah.
No, but I think that's a good point. I mean, that is a mistake that we make. A mistake that we make in the bedroom.
Because it affects all aspects.
It does,
If
yeah.
if you are not making your best effort to present yourself, then your partner is probably not going to be quite as excited by you. And you're not feeling as sexy and confident as you could be, so therefore you may not act exactly the same either. And, you know, things kind of start that slippery slope and tend to slide off a bit.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. I can tell you from personal relationships that has happened. You know, both of us started, not Mrs. Adam and I, but a previous partner of mine, we both started to let things go, and as we let things go, it just kind of slid downhill, and ultimately, I mean, that was one of the things that was the end for us, but it was, yeah, it's kind of...
You just get complacent and
Yeah.
don't put the effort in.
So what I think the article meant
Was something very different.
was something very different, which is focusing on your experience, focusing on what is happening at the same time. So I know for me, I have a massive issue letting myself go, to let my brain loose and to enjoy the situation which I'm in.
Just be in that moment.
Yeah. And it's something that I try to work on and I try to work through. But it's just so difficult. And I do find that does affect, it doesn't, I'm to the point where I can do it with you. And that happened, I think, pretty early on. I could let myself go with you. But with just about every other partner that I come across, I overthink, and it's a lot of stuff that's sort of weighing and swirling around in my head. But it ends up being this maelstrom that once you get in, it's impossible to get out of. And you can't relax, you can't focus on anything. And for me, that often expresses as performance anxiety. I have, I get erectile dysfunction, and I can't, as soon as that happens, I can't get out of that.
And it tends to be more in group settings.
It's
than
worse
one-on-one.
in group settings. It happens one-on-one as well with women, not with guys.
Right.
I'm sure Freud would have a lot to say about that, but I am more comfortable with guys than I am with women, except for you, which, again, Freud, help me out. But excuse me, it's one of those things that it's so frustrating, and it's one of the, I wish I could let myself go and just let the sort of the body take over, the animalistic side take over. There's too much ego, not enough id.
So I know that you have tried at times to focus more on when that starts to happen, focus on, she's touching me or he's touching me. This is what's going on. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm touching.
Yep.
And you're trying to force yourself to be more in that moment and not think about the dysfunction, but think about what is providing pleasure. Does that help?
It does help. So, to give a little more background on this for listeners, I've done just about everything you can imagine. I've tried meditation. I've tried hypnotherapy. I've done, this has come up with our personal counselor. And this has only really been an issue for me since we started playing with groups.
Right.
The first few times, it's always nerves, and that makes sense. Nerves, we all get nervous in new situations. It's
Absolutely.
difficult.
Yeah.
It's that fight or flight sort of thing, and your body's saying, okay, I need to get out of here kind of thing. So it is very common. It is very common. I know because I've seen it happen with other people when we're in a group together. For me, however, it tends to be one of those things that once I think about it, it's always there. I can't not think about it. And it is impossible not to light that fire. So for me, let's say, for instance, Friday, we had our friends over. The first time I thought about what if I can't get an erection was probably Thursday night. And so you can't live in the moment and focus on the experience at hand when you're 24 hours plus in front of that experience. And that still happens to me. I have, a female partner that if I were to set up a date with her and I knew that I was going to play, that would be forefront of my mind. And so it's tough to get over that. It's tough to get around that. And then once we are playing, like Friday night, it comes and goes, but it mostly goes, and I focus on the partner and what's going on, but I can't, you can't get over that hump, so to speak.
And there are times, especially in group play and, depending on timing and whatnot, where you start down that slippery slope, but then I can bring you back.
Yes.
And then it's fine after that. But or at least it's fine with me.
I've never had an issue with you, ever. And
right.
Part of me wonders if that's the thing. Is it because we have so much sex, we have such a healthy sex life that maybe that's it? Perhaps, I don't want to test this out. But
oh, you're not saying like too much sex?
No.
Okay.
Excuse me, I keep coughing. But I'm saying that, we average 1.5 times a day.
Yeah. Easily. Yeah.
And we've had weeks where we go twice a day. And so,
and more on the weekends for sure.
Yeah. And then we come to play partners, and it's like, at that point, my body's like, if it was you again, if it's just you and me, sure, I'm ready to go again. But with other people, my brain's like, oh God, I can't be fucking bothered. And then sometimes I wonder if that's it. If we were to give up sex for a week and then we had play partners, but the honest truth is, at that point, the only person I'd want to play with is you.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. And we've heard that from other play partners, when they're away for a while.
Yeah.
And then come back together, because there's another couple that we've played with, and they were apart for, say, the week before, and then we come in to have a date with them or whatnot, and all he wants to do is play with her because they've been apart,
which makes sense,
and that's completely understandable. But it does kind of then defeat the purpose of the group play, other than the whole voyeuristic exhibition, which is awesome.
I actually think I enjoy that.
I like it sometimes.
I almost like that better than playing with other people, is playing in front of people. I know we've touched on that before.
I actually prefer it more if I'm playing in front of strangers.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But there are times where it's just fucking hot to sit there and watch other people.
Yes,
and
totally.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's frustrating. I find that if I drug up, it works a lot better, because then I don't know if it's mostly placebo. I know that if I just take the drugs and it's just you and me, we will go and have sex in a weekend.
Like bunnies.
Yeah, it's like 8, 9, 10 times in a 2-day period. Cialis is my favorite. I've taken Viagra as well. If you've never taken either of those drugs, I can tell you my experience with them. Viagra has I think I think the manufacturer, Pfizer, says a 4-hour body life, whatever you want to call it. For me, it's 6 to 8 hours. I can feel it in my body for 6 to 8 hours. The first 30 minutes, my face gets flushed. I have a ringing in my ears. I feel a little dizzy. And
Slight headache.
A
You've
slight
complained
headache
about.
at times. Yeah. So I would advise don't take it on an empty stomach. And definitely don't take it if the only thing in your body is alcohol. I've done that. It makes me so sick. In the last 2 years, the one time that I've been sick from drinking was because I had taken Viagra.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think I threw up 4 times and then we fucked like bunnies.
Well, I was going to say the other problem with that, though, is that it does open up your blood vessels, so then you're absorbing the alcohol a lot faster as well. So you get drunk a lot faster.
The logic makes sense. And so I tend to try to really pay attention to my alcohol consumption.
Because we've also had a friend that did that.
Yes. Yep. I try to really pay attention to my alcohol consumption when I'm on those pills. So Viagra is okay. My preference is Cialis. I love Cialis. Cialis, I call it the perfect weekend in a pill. So I only take 10 milligrams, which is half of a normal serving size, or dosage, whatever serving size. You know what?
It's not dinner.
Not with that attitude.
Well, it's my dinner. It's not your dinner.
Right? It's all you can eat too.
Yeah.
So I like it because I'll take it, and again, I get that 30 minutes of head rush, flushed feeling. I can feel my cheeks get redder, buzzing in my ears, slight headache, and then I am ready to go for a good 48. I usually take it on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And then I'm ready. I'm done. I'm ready to go at a moment's notice through the Sunday evening.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love Cialis. Honestly, if I didn't think it would kill me, I would take it almost daily.
Yeah, let's not test that one.
It probably won't kill you. It can't kill you. Because originally it was a blood pressure, right? That's how Pfizer was.
I think it started out something like that.
Pfizer, I think, was blood pressure.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I can't remember all the details.
So back to the point of this story,
right,
which is that for me, that does help the erectile dysfunction, ED. If I take that, I still have that issue, and I still I have trouble focusing. But once the erection gets there, that sucker fucking ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Because of the drugs. Bless you, drugs. So it's tough because I know where the problem is, but there's nothing I can do that fixes it, really. And like Friday night, after they left, I mean, it was a great experience. I think everybody was happy, everybody had fun, but I have this I have this cloud that hangs over me. It's just like
going to a dark place.
Yeah, I go into a very dark place, and it's a bit of that self-loathing and what's wrong with you. I know you and I've discussed this before. I feel like I've been given the keys to the palace, or I think this is a better analogy is I've been given keys to a new car, but every car is out of gas. You've got a key that can start any car in the world, but none of them have gas in them. So you go and you sit in the fucking car and you're like, oh, well, this is great, but it wouldn't be great if I could drive it, kind of thing. That's really a frustrating feeling to have a partner who is okay with you, realistically, okay with you sleeping with anyone. And then you can't do it. It's like, wow, thank you, irony. And it is a problem. It's frustrating, and I, again, having tried everything from hypnosis to normal gnosis, it's something that I can't get over. I may never get over it. Which is, I'm starting to get to that point where I'm like, okay, I'm very good with my mouth. I'm very good with my hands.
Yep. Yes, you are.
There's a lack of. It's funny because I feel like there's a lack of intimacy without penetrative normal sex, but yeah.
But that's a good point too, is that in group play, it doesn't have to be that everyone plays with everyone or that you penetrate all the
Right,
females,
right.
whatever, or even that we swap. It's more just that you play and you have fun. And as long as everyone's happy with what happens, you don't have to have penetrative sex with everyone.
I know.
Or
And
with another partner.
I know, but there's always those times where, where in a group setting where everybody is coupled off and everybody is having sex, and then you're not.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm not as worried about me. I'm okay. I can get over it. I'm more concerned about
You just want to make sure
the partner that I'm with.
that your partner is
I know
pleased.
I know how your brain works, or I know how the brain works. And they think, oh, I hope it's not me. Is there something wrong with me? And that's what's so frustrating about it, is because you can't go, oh, well, it's me, it's not you. Because of course you would say that, because, anybody
Yeah.
who's polite would say that. So there's really no way to get around that, to try to communicate that it really is me. This is a physiological problem that I can't overcome.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, because most of our regular play partners know that this can be an issue for you in group play.
Yes.
And so it's fine with them. But I'm just trying to think of how you would broach that with a new partner or new couple. Say we had a new couple that we're starting to play with. What would be the best way to let them know ahead of time that this happens sometimes? If it does, don't worry, it's not you guys, or it's just, I don't know.
I don't know. And it's tough, because
Yeah.
I don't think there is a way
Yeah.
that you can bring this up in a conversational sort of manner.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so frustrating, and yeah, like I said, I wish there was a way that, I wish there was something I could do
Because-
that's like, oh yeah, this gets over it.
Yeah. I'll say, because otherwise you do quite well. When we are playing with other people, other than that, you are quite good at being in the moment, and you're
Yes.
focused on your partner.
Oh, yeah.
And whether it's orally or, like you said, with your hands or whatever, you are very focused on your partner, and you're very good at that. Yeah. It's just that extra little bit that is hard for you. But as far as, being with the people and being in the situation, you're very good at that, mentally otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that, sometimes parts don't cooperate.
I know, right? So fuck you, brain. But yeah, so that's let yourself go.
Yeah. Well, and I think it is
I feel like
important. I think it is important, though, when you are, even, not group setting, because let's be honest, most people don't really have group sex. But even with a partner, whether new or old, to be in the moment and to focus on them, because everyone wants to feel important, and your partner wants to feel important just as much as you do. So focus on them. Don't be thinking about what groceries you need to stop and get on the way home. Don't be thinking about other partners. Oh, I really liked when this person did this. Why isn't this person doing that? Maybe you didn't ask for it. But but to focus on them and to be with them only, and to forget about the outside world.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot more pleasurable for them, which ultimately makes it more pleasurable for you.
Well said. Wow. All right.
Your pleasure is my pleasure.
I would agree with that completely. All right, let's move on a bit. So the last one is giving the silent treatment.
Right.
I think, personally, again, this is, and I'm being sexist, this is more of a male problem than it is a female problem. I think most women are pretty good about letting the guy know, or the gal know, what feels good, from moans and groans and grunts and
Heavy breathing.
heavy breathing. It's pretty easy to know what you're doing right. I think the problem is guys are chronically stoic.
Which can come across as a lack of emotion or interest.
Yeah. And oftentimes it's focusing on baseball statistics so you don't come too fast.
You don't know any baseball statistics, do you?
I know there are 4 bases. No, I don't know. If you could give me batting averages, and I would have no idea what a good batting average is. Like, that sounds good. Yeah. batting 400 is a good thing, right?
I don't know. RBI is the only thing I know, but I couldn't even tell you what that is.
Oh, it's a run batted in. I know what that is.
There you go.
That's when a person is on base and you hit the ball and you might get out, but they get in. So that's an RBI. So that score. Yeah, see?
Wow.
Holy shit balls. I played baseball, so I should fucking know that. Anyway, yeah, so I feel like I'm a lot better with this than I was. And I've had a few new partners actually say to me, are you okay? I can get quite loud. With guys, I am extremely loud, which, again, sort of touching back on the ED, one of the reasons that I am almost exclusively a bottom now is because you don't have to do anything to bottom. you just have to relax. And I'm really good at relaxing during sex. So I think I'm at least a fair bottom. But there's no demand for performance from a bottom. But I tend to get really loud. I tend to get really demanding. Yeah. I'm not a power bottom exactly, but I can be pretty demanding. Yup.
And I like to watch it.
Yeah, I can be pretty loud. You're pretty loud at times. You have moments where I'm like, wow, I think the neighbors might actually hear us.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the times that I just kind of forget and let go. Because
those times are awesome. See, not letting yourself go. Remember, did you not listen to the whole rant we just had?
Yes. But no, I would say though that early on I was a lot quieter because, and I know exactly where this stems from, is from my first husband. We would very often have sex either with family in the next room, or we would share hotel rooms with people because we were in college, and we'd share hotel rooms with people and have sex, and try not to wake them up, so you'd have to try and be super quiet and stuff, and so yeah, it was just all about being really quiet, and that just kind of got ingrained in me. And so I would let you know, but it was not in the same kinds of ways. And yeah. I've kind of learned to let that go, and just, it doesn't matter anymore because, I like being watched, and so what if people hear us, and, it's a natural part of things. And yeah, so I'm a lot better now than I used to be. Because yeah, when I was with my first husband, I wasn't very loud at all, just because there were so many times that it was like, shh, be quiet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's just funny. There's been a few times where you're so loud, I'm like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah. Well, we also lived my first husband and we lived underneath a screamer for a while. And she was so loud, you could be halfway down the block and hear her.
That's awesome.
So, and we would always be like, she's having sex again. Yeah, okay, good for her.
Did she get it a lot?
Not every couple days. So define a lot. I mean, for us, not really. But for some people, yes.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, it was, and I guess also because of that, I don't want to be that person necessarily. But at the same time, if the windows are open in summertime, somebody hears, so what? I don't really care. I hear their TV; they can hear me having sex.
That seems like a fair trade. I agree. I'm much louder than I used to be, and there's times where I kind of lose myself, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm getting really loud.
Yeah.
I'm more of I think I'm more of the grunter. I'm a pig boy, kind of thing. No, I'm not. But I am like grr. I don't know. At times, it's kind of. Well, it's hard to define your sex noises. I just realized that.
We should just record it at some point.
We should. I'm trying to define my sex noises, and
we could just have a podcast of us having sex.
We could. I wonder how many people would listen to that.
I don't know.
Who wants to perv on us having sex? Maybe we should. I actually thought about it not too long ago. One of the times where you were having sex. No, where we were having sex. No, you were definitely coming. And I thought what we should do is record a video of it, but have the camera down so all you can get is sound.
Right.
And then post that to Twitter, because you sound so sexy. Your orgasms are sexy.
Yay.
Yeah. Maybe it's just me.
Nah.
Yeah. Anyway.
If it works for you, it works for you.
It works for me.
And it certainly works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's That's all the ones that they had, the mistakes we make in the bedroom.
Do you have any to add to that?
You know, yes and no, really. I think ultimately what this all boils down to is communication. Either with your partner or even with yourself. You know, and we've talked about that before, communication. It tends to be, we should have that on a bumper sticker. You know, you've got to talk about what you want. You've got to convey what you want. You've got to ask what they want. You have to ask what you're allowed to do.
Listen to what they want.
Yeah. Yes. You know, so it's a lot of, I don't know. I can't think. I'm sure there's other things. I think you're not letting yourself go. That what I hear from that is complacency.
Yeah.
You get complacent with what you have, and so you know what's that? Familiarity breeds contempt, and so you get familiar with something, and you're like, all right, well, this is going to work, and that can actually work against you as well. Because I know in my previous relationship, I became accepting to the fact that we just didn't have sex that often.
Right.
You know, we had sex maybe once a week, once to 10 days, and that was during the high time when we were really having a lot of sex. I was like, holy cow. And you know, that's, you grow to accept that. That's the new normal. And I think that's part of a problem.
And I would say besides just the actual physical sex, there's also that emotional connection where if you're not making an effort in the relationship and, you know, you're not putting your best foot forward, then you're not going to be as close emotionally either.
Yeah. You know, and sex starts outside the bedroom. And I know it sounds so fucking cliche. And I know, you know, I've seen a lot of things, suggestions on, you know, trying to spice up a sex life. You start, you know, tell somebody the morning of, you know, what is attractive or whatnot. And for me, most of that always felt so contrived. You know, if I text you in the morning saying, oh, well, the underwear you were wearing was really hot, or you text me and say, you know, I wore hot underwear for you, that to me feels contrived. Instead, you know, you and I, we've developed a form of communication that works for us that is sexy. Like, you know, I will occasionally get a text from Mrs. Adam that is the emoticon that's got two big eyes and the mouth open, and then a less than symbol, equal, and then the number 8. So it's clearly this big sort of ASCII emoticon thing for blowjob. I mean, it's clear that's what it is. I'll get that just out of the blue. And that's what people are advising others to do. But I think what you need to do is find something like that. You're not sending me pictures of your underwear. You're not talking about your underwear. You're not saying this is what I want to do, blah, 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 blah. Find something that fits into your lexicon that feels natural. And I think my problem with most of the advice columns is what they're describing doesn't feel natural to me because it's not what we would do. It's not what we would do. Yeah. And I think that's important, that you have to find something that feels natural for you. And
every relationship's a little bit different. And it may take some feeling out and some trying of things to see what is natural for you. You may know what works for you or you may not. You may have to try different things with your partner.
Give it a go.
And kind of grade the feedback and see what you get.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny because we are very much, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
But you have to make it work. It takes two people to make a successful relationship, and it takes two people for a relationship to fail. Which reminds me of a great Simpsons quote, which is Homer speaking to Marge. It takes two people to lie, Marge. One person to say the lie and the other person to believe it. Which cracks me up. But, you know, part of that, there's a truth there.
Yeah.
Ironically, in that, you know, it does take two people to sort of make that connection. And if you know there's a problem, you got to speak up and say there's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our mistakes. Our take on mistakes we make in the bedroom and in relationships in general. Trust me, there's a bunch of other mistakes that you can make in a relationship in general, but I'm a firm believer that they all boil down to communication. You got to talk. If you don't talk and you don't listen, you're going to fail. There, bar none. You will fail. Do you disagree?
Nope, I
She's
absolutely
over
agree.
here shaking her head vehemently. Yes.
Yes, I absolutely agree. 100%.
And talking sucks sometimes.
It can be hard.
It's
it can be
very
really
difficult.
hard.
I think there's nothing more difficult than asking for what you want. You're putting yourself in a vulnerable position, and you're putting yourself on the line for someone to say no. And that sucks. Nobody wants to hear that. However, if you don't ask, you may never get.
Right. So. And if they say no, you're no worse off than you were.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right, this podcast felt serious. I didn't want to do a fucking serious podcast, and look, we did something serious.
Sorry.
So we have a question of the week, and hopefully it's something light. I say we. Mrs. Adam has a question of the week, and I'm hoping it's something light and frivolous, and that I can just be like, hee 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 hee.
A little, maybe not entirely frivolous, but anyway. So the question is, what is your largest age gap with a partner? Male and female.
Ooh, the widest age gap between me and somebody who I've had sex with.
Yes, it could be up or down. Up and down, up and down.
That's what she said. Okay. I seem to remember when I was in my 20s. I'm going to say I was 28, and he was... This was a grinder hookup at a hotel in San Diego. I was 28. I'm pretty sure he was at least... Wait, no, this wasn't 28. Hang on. I'm getting all confused now. I was actually... No, maybe I was 28. I don't know. Anyway, we'll say I was 28 to 30. He was 48 to 52. So that makes
So you're looking at about a 20-year age
20
gap.
plus year age gap. I may have a bit of a daddy thing. Maybe. I have a good relationship with my dad. A great relationship with my dad, but I think that...
You still like older guys.
I need the acceptance, and I need older guys to say I'm okay. That's the greatest age difference I've ever had. Young guys, the youngest guy I've ever been, I don't know, maybe 4 years, 3 years younger than me. Not that much younger.
What about a lady?
Ladies. So the greatest age difference is probably, I'm currently 30-something, 8. 42, 43. So 5 years up. She'd be 5 years older than me. And I would say the youngest is probably around the same.
Okay.
Maybe even closer to my age.
So not as big of a spread on the ladies.
I would say not as big of a spread. No. Only because, well, 2 reasons. One, I'm not terribly
I can think of
interested.
one that was 6 years, I would say, for you.
Okay.
But still around there. So yeah, 5 to 6.
But it's really one.
The lady from Friday night, isn't she?
Oh, is she?
I think
I have no idea how old she is.
I think she's a bit younger. I could be mistaken.
Oh, I have no idea how old she is.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Nah, I could be wrong.
Look.
If not, I'm just thinking she is.
All right. Oh. Yeah. So no, I mean it only because I did have that opportunity with the 21-year-old.
Yes.
I was 33 maybe, and she had just turned 21. She kept telling me she had just turned 21.
You weren't quite 33.
All right, so
you were a little bit older even, because
But I
that
got-
was probably 4 years ago. So you were
Yeah.
34. Well, okay,
Okay.
close enough. Yeah. Okay.
But I kept getting those red flags that if I had sex with her, she was going to cry rape.
She's a crazy
even though
one.
she was
Yeah.
throwing herself at me.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
She seemed kinda
thanks.
crazy,
You're
so,
kind of crazy.
yeah.
So we just sat out in the stairwell and made out for a little while, pants on.
Yep. Probably wise.
So that was the youngest person I've ever kissed. There you go. How about you?
So
How about
my largest age gap with a guy was 14 years. He was older,
Okay.
not younger, because 14 years younger would No, it'll still be all right. But no, he was 14 years older than me.
Okay.
I had no idea until after we hooked up. It wouldn't have mattered, but I had no idea until
Mama
afterwards.
wants what Mama wants.
Well, he didn't look it at all, and
Right.
it wasn't until I saw his driver's license. It was like, holy shit! It's like, okay, that's
for
fine.
the record,
I'll still go back.
That's what Mrs. Adam does when you go and take a shower. She goes through your wallet. How did you see his driver's
It
license?
was no, his wallet was honestly open on my dresser. I don't know if I think it might have just fallen open or something, whatever. But it was open, and
Okay.
so it just happened to walk by, and it was like, oh, look, okay, yeah. But yeah, no, it didn't bother me at all. It was just, like I said, he came back multiple times, so whatever.
Pun intended.
Yes.
He came on your back multiple times.
I don't know that he ever did.
Hey, so that's actually a random question. We'll come back to that. But like your other partners, do they like whip it out and take the condom off and then come on you?
No.
All right.
No.
Sorry. Too much porn.
And then the largest age gap with a female was 8 years, and she was younger.
Oh.
I don't think I've had very many older females. Maybe one or two, but it wouldn't have been that much older, I don't
Yeah.
think. Most of them are around my age or within a few years, possibly a bit younger, but they're generally pretty close. But yeah, so 8 years for female, 14 for a male.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So that. There you go.
Yeah.
Our age spread is.
Yeah.
Mine's
It
always
is what
bigger
it
than
is.
yours.
It is what it is. You know?
Age is only a number.
Yep.
Honestly.
It's more about the attraction and the person.
It is. It really is. You know, because I think of some of our consistent partners
Mm-hmm.
who are, a strong 10 years older than both of us. And one in particular, he may be 10 years older than us, but he is in better shape than both of us put
Oh,
together.
absolutely. Hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which always cracks me up. I'm like, oh my God, you look like you're sort of chiseled.
Yeah.
We're talking to you, Blue Steel.
He's not quite 10 years.
Isn't he?
No.
How much older is he?
7. I would say probably 7 years older than you, which puts him 8 or 9 older than me.
I thought he was 47 or 48.
I thought 45.
God, he's going to kick my ever-loving ass if I called him 10 years older.
Either that or if he is, he's going to love me. So one or the other.
Either way, the boy's built like he's 24, 25.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, he does.
So it doesn't matter how much older he is than us. He looks like he's 10 years younger than us
Yes.
plus. So whatever.
And he could easily kick both of our asses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would happily let him do that. Yeah, so that's it.
All right. Thanks for listening again.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on the Twitter at The Atoms of Love. Please email us all your questions, comments, and rude remarks at theatomsoflove@gmail.com.
And that's TheAtomsOflove.
Yeah. And find us on iTunes or Podcasters or Stitcher. What's it? Pocket Cast. There
Pocket
it is.
Cast, yeah.
Review us. We like validation. Tell us we're pretty.
Who doesn't?
Please tell us we're pretty.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening. We'll catch y'all next time.